Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. Well, we're headed towards Easter, and I love Easter because so much takes place. So much of our faith hinges on what happens the week leading up to Good Friday, and Easter. Everything changes. It's the culmination of promises, of predictions, of real-life human experience, tragedy, and struggle, and one victorious moment that makes all of that different. So as we approach Easter, I want to talk to you about a song that I love that always puts me at real-life human experience and yet also tells a story of Jesus and what he went through for us. It's a song by Florence and the Machine called Shake It Out. So I'm going to walk through each verse and tell you a story of real-life human stuff and then how Jesus has redeemed all of that. She starts the song by saying that regrets collect like old friends, and they're here to relive our darkest moments. And I picture myself on a couch with the couple that I was coaching, and they shared with me that one of them had been unfaithful. And they both started to cry because although one of them had asked for forgiveness and the other one had extended grace, it continued to sneak up on them. And they relived these darkest moments based on different restaurants, different songs, different times of the year. And we walked through what grace means and reminded them of what Jesus paid the price ultimately for. And they walked away, and I know that they continue to have these moments sneak up on them, but they overcome them each time. The second verse says that every demon wants its pound of flesh, but I like to keep some things to myself. And I'm reminded of a friend of mine who was struggling with addiction and was sharing with me that problem, but really wasn't ready to bring it to light. Wanted to keep it to himself, keep dealing with it on his own. And we talked through what grace looks like, what forgiveness looks like, and what Jesus did. And that my friend of mine goes to meetings pretty regularly and as far as I know, hasn't had another drink. The third verse, Florence says, I'm done with this graceless heart, and tonight I'm going to cut it out and then restart. And I see a friend of mine who had a family falling out. And then one of them had a health scare. And he said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not going to have that happen without at least trying. And so he called his family, and it didn't go perfectly. But they've begun to build a bridge, and they don't have that same chasm. Because of what Jesus did in his life, we process through what that meant for him to do with his family and forgive them. He took that first step. The Florence song goes on to say, given half the chance, would I take any of it back? Just a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was a crazy thrill seeker. He told me a story about a time that he rode down the expressway on the hood of a car. And he said, there's times where I want to go back there. But I know that at the end of that thrill, what I was trying to get really left me empty. And the only thing that gives me that fulfillment is Jesus. And then the song kind of takes a turn and starts talking, in my opinion, I hear Jesus in all of this. She says, it's a final mess, but it leaves me so empty. It's always calmest before the dawn. And I put myself in the garden where Jesus is begging God to take the cup from him. This is his darkest moment, and he wants God to take it from him. And then the song says, I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. And it puts me at the trial of Jesus when everybody's making fun of him, and he probably could do something about it, but he knows that he has to. He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. It says, I'm ready to suffer, and I'm ready to hope. And in the moment when Jesus is in a second trial, and he's being mocked, and they say, you could get off the cross, you could change all of this. Are you really the Son of God? He's ready to suffer, but he's also ready for hope. Then it says, it's a shot in the dark straight at my throat. You're looking for heaven, but you found the devil in me. There's a moment on the cross where Jesus says, my God, why have you forsaken me? At that moment, Jesus is ready for it all to be done, for him to have paid the price and for him to go to heaven, and yet he takes on all of our sin and suffering, and he descends into hell. And the song ends in the chorus part. The chorus ends every time with, it's hard to dance with the devil on your back, so shake him off. And I want to leave you with this verse because it sums up the whole Easter story. 1 Corinthians 15, 55 through 57. It says this in the Message version. Who got the last word? It's almost teasing death. It says, oh, death, who is afraid of you now? Because if we think about the Easter story, it was sin that made death so frightening. And this law code that gave guilt and sin its leverage. But now, in a single victorious moment, all three lost their power. Sin, death, and guilt were gone. This is the gift of Jesus. So as you celebrate Easter this year, dance on the inside, dance on the outside. It used to be hard to dance with the devil on your back. But Jesus Christ died. He took all of our sins, all of our suffering, all of our pain on him, and he shook the devil off. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to follow us each week, click here to subscribe. And if you want to take it a little bit further, click here for discussion materials.